today we are going to talk about the new Black Widow pencils. So, if anyone is a fan of Black Widow, these have been kind of in the making for a little while now, and they just released last week. I will admit I was stalking the manufacturer on Facebook, and the second they sent out their message, I went to Amazon and bought it right then and there. I know they initially sent like 1,600 to Amazon US, and more were coming. It's kind of weird. I don't know if they're sold out or not. The day they came out, some people could not buy them. It said they were sold out. But then other people in other states, when they looked at the same thing, were able to. So it could be something with Amazon's distribution and how it like looks at your delivery location and determines if you can access it. I don't know. It was kind of interesting, so I'm curious how many of you experienced that. But I know now most people can get them if they're in the US. Other countries have to wait a little bit longer. But this is the biggest set they've ever released. Usually they have the 12 counts for the skin tones, and then the 24 for Cobra, Scorpion, and Black Widow. So it was kind of cool. I was excited because I wanted to see what new colors they added. They had 96 total before, so adding 48 is a pretty good chunk of pencils now. And what we're going to do is kind of take a look at them. I'm not going to do a review. I have a review on Black Widow pencils. This is just showing you the new colors and all that, and just what you'll get if you do end up buying them. So the box comes just like this. It's actually paper wrapping around it, and it was in plastic, but obviously I tore that all off. One thing I wanted to let people know, because I know a lot of people are like, hey, why is it called Monarch, and then there's this elk or whatever here instead of the butterfly. And I too thought, I hear Monarch, I think butterfly, but this is actually a buck. There's a Missouri Monarch, I think it is, and it's a type of buck, like and they have these huge like antlers, and that's their like distinguishing mark. So I'm pretty sure that's what they were trying to go with here. I did send a message to the manufacturer, I just haven't heard back. So if anyone else has asked or heard back, let me know if I'm right. But that's what I think this means. I do think it would have been cooler with a butterfly though, but you know, to each their own. So after you get out of the paper sleeve, you have your tin, which all Black Widow pencils come in these tins. They're not hinged, they're just a lid that pops on and off. And then this is normally, with all Black Widow, right here wrapped in plastic and like shrink wrapped, but I popped it all off. I was going to swatch them all on camera, and I got them on Wednesday, and I was just too impatient. I had to do it, so sorry. But yeah, so here's your tin. There's nothing on the inside, but there is on the back. It kind of goes over your colors and then a little bit about them and all that. And this is actually the company that makes them, and it throws you off because when you're on Amazon, it's MediHealth, and you wouldn't think that was a company making colored pencils, but it is. So let's get this lid back off. Alright, so you have two trays of 24, and then, like all Black Widows, they are the black hexagon pencil with the color dipped end. And then this time, as with all Black Widows, you'll have a little code here and then a number, and the letter code corresponds with the series. So for Monarch, they're doing an MN, but they're also putting Monarch up here, and then its little symbol is antlers. Like Black Widow has the spider, Cobra has the little cobra, obviously, Scorpion has a scorpion, but these are all in gold lettering. And then, of course, you know, the awesome black. I think that's what draws me to them, is just the black wood. It's so cool looking, and it looks cool against the colored lead. So there's that, and I mean, anyone who has a Black Widow set knows what they look like. But first thing I noticed when I opened it was the colors. Instantly I thought of Pastels, and of course you can never judge a pencil by the color here, but once you swatch it out, that tells you what they are. So here's our two trays. We have kind of an orangey, peaches and pinks into greens. The next tray has a little more greens, some more blues, purples, dark blues, and a bunch of grays were added in. But I guess what we really want to know is, what do these look like, right? Because we already know what Black Widow pencils are like, and that's not what we're here to discuss. We are here to discuss the colors. So, as I had guessed, we do have pastels, which are really pretty. I mean, look at some of these colors. They're so gorgeous. And I have to say, at first I was disappointed because I was starting to swatch them, and I'm like, oh, some of these are just too, like, this neonish yellow going on, and some of these are more skin tones, and we already have tons of skin tones from Black Widow. But I guess more is, you can never complain about having too many, right? So we definitely have more options for skin tones, up even this one here and the peach. But then they've added some more greens. They do have kind of like pastel-y greens, almost a neon-ish green, and then these like very light greens. They look close together on camera, but they are slightly different. And then we've got more blues, including a light blue, which was one of my biggest complaints about Black Widow, is they didn't have a very light blue. The lightest they had was blue heaven, and it was more a bright blue. So they did finally add that in, which I was happy about. Same with the greens. Their original set were lacking in kind of these more natural light colors, so that was good to see. And then with the purples, they added just a couple more. This gray slate is a purpley one, and then you have lavender and eggplant, so just 3 purples. But that's good because they didn't have a ton of purples before either. Same with the pinks, you know, we've got some lighter pinks to play around with now, including a very light pink. I don't know if you guys can see it and if it translates well on camera, but it's a very light pink, which will be awesome because they didn't have that in the other set. So you don't have any repeating colors, and all of these are going to work really well. And one I was really happy they added was milk. Even cream, but milk, because they didn't have an off-white in any of their sets. And same thing, you know, cream. They didn't have a lot of these, and I like to use these for stones and such. And they just had white, and then they went to, I'd say their closest one was gold, which was kind of a yellowy beige. But they really didn't have any of these, so this was nice to see added in. And they have this ice cream color, which is very light and super pretty. And then, of course, sticking with their fashion of just fun names, you know, like I said, ice cream. This one kind of threw me off, though, fudge, and it's a pink color. I just picture chocolate fudge, I don't know. But, you know, they have green slime, poison, green tea, cat's eye, eggplant. They have some pretty cute names sticking with their usual. They have a gunmetal gray, and then they did add a lot more grays, if you can see here, which is good because their initial set only had so many, and you had very few cool and very few warm, and you don't like to combine warm and cool very often. They can look a little muddled. So it's nice that they added more warm ones and more cool ones. And then they added kind of like a dark charcoaly gray, along with just one brown, unless you want to count this, it's a very light one, but they added this one here, and then this rusty orange color, and it's perfectly named because it really is the color of rust. So, how does that compare to the 96? So here's the initial 96. That includes all 3 24 counts and both skin tones. And like I said, see the original blues? You have these blues here. We didn't have any light blues at all. And now, look at that. We've got some more dark blues to play around with, including a navy, which is good. And then they've added some lighter blues that you can now play around with, which will be nice. And then same thing with the purples. If you look down here, these were your original purples, which you didn't have a ton of, so it was nice they added a couple more in here. This eggplant will be really pretty. It is pretty close to the grape, but not quite. The gray slate will be really nice to blend with. And then with the browns, I always felt like Black Widow had a good array of brown personally. I never felt complaining about that, but it was nice they added this mahogany color, which will kind of go in between these Tarantula, Negra, and Cinnamons, which are very close. And then Rusty kind of comes in here with these ones, and I know they look similar on camera, but they are very slightly different. For the greens, let's see if I can find a way to make these easy to compare. It was nice to see them add some more light greens, because like I said, the lighter ones in here were very bright, like lime fruit. So it was nice to see like this apple color. And then these three here, Antler, Poison, and Washed Green, I was really excited to see, because if you look here, you're just so dark on all these greens, and to create a good blend, you need some more light ones. So those were a really good addition, and I think those will help, especially if you're trying to do a lot of greenery, or, you know, like Johanna Basford books. That's going to really amp up the combinations. And then, like I said, you have so many neutral tones and pastel-y colors, so it was pretty pleasing. And then here, I'll show you the grays real quick. So see, we now have a light gray, this gunmetal. We didn't have that before. The grays start here, and they're pretty lacking. I mean, this was your gray selection before. So you've got now a light one, and you've got an actual light gray, which is more in a warmy tone. And then you've got your medium gray. This coal will be really good. And then you have some warm grays also added. So now you can actually create better color combinations. And then I think the only thing we're still really missing is, I feel like with the purples, I would have liked to see just something else with the purple added in. You can still make very pretty color combinations with these, but I hope to see like maybe a more pastel-y purple. We do have the gray slate, but it's not quite there, like the I can't even think of the word right now, but it just needs something a little bit lighter, is what I think would be the only complaint I had. But I don't regret buying this set. I mean, it was $30, but their 24 count ones are what, $16.99? So I spent a little more on this one, and I don't know if it's just because they're new and the price will come down, but either way, I don't regret buying them. I love Black Widows. I think they're really great budget pencil to work with. And now with all these colors, I have a whole bunch more combinations I can make, a lot more gradients, and I can also do a lot more natural looking stuff, because before I felt like they didn't have a lot of neutral tones to work with, or they would have some, but they just didn't have enough within that same family to blend together. So this really does round it out. I don't know if they plan to add more later on, or if they're going to call it quits here, but I hope they keep making them, because there's so many other colors they could make. But I'm really happy with this set, and if you're a Black Widow fan and you've been waiting for these and you're kind of not sure, I would get them. I think they're a great addition, and they're definitely going to help me use my 96 a lot better. But to each their own. Some people don't even like Black Widow. I put Black Widow above like Castle Art and all those. I kind of have them tied with Arteza for budget pencils. They're definitely not a Prismacolor. I don't compare them to Prismacolor, and the reason for that is because they're a budget pencil, and Prismacolor is just its own category. But in terms of budget pencils, these are one of my favorite, along with Arteza. And I think they're worth every penny, and I don't mind. I know some people say that you can buy these open stock. The only reason I say that you can't is it is very unreliable. It's not like with Prismacolors where you are definitely going to find open stock on every single pencil. So you can technically find these open stock. I don't know about the new set yet, but I wouldn't count on it. Honestly, when I run out of one, I just buy the set, because anytime I have tried to get the open stock, they're not there. So that's why I just say don't plan on it. But if you have the new sets, let me know what you think of the new colors, what you think might be missing also. And then if you are a Black Widow fan, I would love to hear some of your color combinations you plan to do with these new ones. I haven't had time to play with them just yet, but this weekend I plan to do some coloring and add these into my old combos. So I'm excited. But if this was helpful, make sure you hit the like button so other people that want to check out the new Monarch set will find it on YouTube when they search. And if you're new to my channel, first of all, welcome. And then second, don't forget to hit subscribe, and then also click the bell if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. But I am going to go and start coloring with my new Monarch set, and also in honor of getting a new set, I bought a whole brand new pencil case for all of my pencils because they now won't fit in my old one. So I'll be moving them into here, and I may even find a way to combine these because these are in color order, so I may end up putting these into color order and making one big swatch chart, but I just don't know if I have the energy to do it. But we'll see if I get around to it. Until next time though, just keep coloring.